Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Couch GMs podcast. It is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. I'm your host, George Kerth, joined by the hot takes man himself, Tyler Snyder. And I think this is an episode for you, if I do say so myself. Tyler, feeling in your comfort zone today?
Yeah, man, this is weird. So this is 2 weeks in a row where we only had two Couch GMs, and I was not one of the ones missing. So that's strange. Um,
True.
but yes, it is a hot takes filled episode, and we do get to talk Titans in the news section. So definitely in my comfort zone here today.
Good to hear, and it's good to have you here. And I hope you guys missed me, even though those two did a good job holding down the fort. I know, Tyler, yeah, you didn't miss me. But cool to see the first live draft in Couch GM's history last week. If you missed that, go check it out. We got some fantasy content for you. We're going to go a little more general NFL content this week. You can find us on our social medias and on thecouchgms.com if you guys do miss us. All right, guys, let's jump in and sit back, relax, and chat. Man, I'm rusty. I don't know. Missing that 1 week really got me, I guess. But I'm going to let you kick off NFL news talking about one free agent wide receiver, and that is Deandre Hopkins.
Yeah, so DeAndre Hopkins is doing some visits. So originally, we all kind of thought that DeAndre Hopkins was going to try to pick a team that he felt he could win now with. Um, so we kind of expected a Ravens or a Bills or a Chiefs or someone in that area that he really felt like this is the time he's going to go for a championship. That is not what we're getting out of his visits. I don't know if he's more interested in the money, or maybe he's just more interested in a team that he feels respected. Maybe he's more interested in a city that he feels like he can enjoy and live in. I'm not sure, but so far, the only two visits we have heard about is he did visit the Tennessee Titans. He was in Nashville, and now he is having a 2-day visit in Boston with the Patriots. So the Titans visit apparently went very well. He was very happy with it. He posted an Instagram post with the song Tennessee Whiskey playing. And he also posted a picture that he was at the CMAs in Nashville while he was down there. Everything I've heard said it was a really pleasant visit and everybody really liked him. So, I mean, sounds like things are good there, but a 2-day visit in Boston, gets to meet with Bill Belichick. He gets to pull out some Bellatrix. We'll see what they can pull off, and we'll see if there's a third visit. I maybe one of these teams blows him away so much that he just goes ahead and signs, or maybe we have more trips to come, or maybe he'll even shock the world and visit these two teams and then randomly sign with the Chiefs.
What we're all
I can see it.
expecting.
I can see it. So that is the DeAndre Hopkins news right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a Chiefs or a Ravens or somebody that, he would go out there and try to win a championship this year, but it does kind of make sense. Like, he's not a aged receiver to the point where, like, he's retiring this year, he's retiring next year. He's still got another, solid 4-year contract left in him. So if he can go to a team with a strong coaching staff and a strong base that, I mean, they're both missing a quarterback when you look at the Patriots and the Titans. But if he thinks that that quarterback's on this roster or someone that they can turn around quickly, he might be willing to fit the role of mentor to that young quarterback and try to build up a roster to make a run and, by the end of his career. And it'll be somewhere where he is respected, like you said. I know that he seems to want stability in the upper parts of the team. So like the Patriots, we know, are a very well-run team from the front office standpoint. Bill Belichick, as you said. The Titans, they did just have a change in regime in their, GM position. But in general, they've been a pretty solid team in the front office, and they don't have any ownership issues or anything like that. And Mike Vrabel, another highly respected coach that has really brought the Titans around in the last 5 years. So I think that might be more important to DeAndre Hopkins than that firestorm that was going on in Arizona.
Yeah, and we even heard Patrick Mahomes during the Pro Bowl 2 years ago when he was mic'd up on the sideline and didn't even realize he was mic'd up at the time. And someone asked him, like, if he didn't play for the Chiefs, who would he want to play for? And he said, I'd want to play for Mike Vrabel. So if somebody on Patrick Mahomes' level is saying something like that, then it's definitely out there. I'm not sure what the cap situation is for the Patriots or what kind of money they have to throw around. I can tell you that the Titans are in cap hell this year. They don't have a lot of money to be thrown around, so it might seem crazy that they're going for Hopkins, but all of these contracts fall off this year, including a lot of dead money. Next year, the Titans are projected to have over $100 million in cap space. That's how much money is falling off. They have tons of money to play with, and we know the salary cap is a myth. You can defer money down further. So if he takes a contract, gets paid a little bit this year and a lot next year, the Titans can dish out some serious money for him too. And we know that they need a receiver. They do have Traylon
Mhm.
Burks, but outside of that, they don't have one. So I think the Titans are a great fit. And that's not just me being biased. I think they're a great fit. And I know the Titans aren't the best looking team right now. I get that. But they still have Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill is still a very strong quarterback. He just had a lot of injuries last year. The Titans still had one of the best defenses in the league last year. And look at that division. The Colts aren't there yet. The Texans aren't there yet. The Jags barely squeaked into the playoffs. They're looking good, but they're not a dominant team yet. If he goes to the Titans, he still has a chance to make the playoffs right away. So it's a good move for the Titans. It's a good move for the Jags. Um, Honestly, I think it's a great fit where I don't think the Patriots are going to be making the playoffs anytime soon in that division. I mean, the Dolphins are looking good. The Jets are looking good. The Bills are looking good. Like, do you really want to sign with a team to be the fourth place team in that division and go against those greats all the time? I wouldn't personally. So I wouldn't go to the Patriots, but hey, we'll have to see how it works out. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
100%. And we'll keep you updated as we keep going on the DeAndre Hopkins situation. Running back news. We had a running back, high profile running back that was cut this week. Dalvin Cook is now a free agent as the Vikings look to move on and get younger in their running back room. Um, I don't even really 100% know where to start on this one. As Dalvin Cook is, an aging running back. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. He's someone that's probably going to go to a contender to try to win sooner rather than later. But he's just coming off of surgery on his shoulders, where his shoulder injuries seem to have been his Achilles heel over the last few years, but he's played through them. And he is actually less of an injury risk coming into this year than he has been in the previous 3 seasons. So I still think he can handle a workload. He can add a veteran presence to a team that's on the edge. Do you have any ideas where you think Dalvin Cook is going to go this season, Tyler?
Man, honestly, no.
I'm glad I'm not
Because,
the only one.
well, I mean, let's think about this for a second. It's not just the fact that Dalvin Cook is available. Like, yes, I think that Dalvin Cook is the best free agent running back available. However, you have Dalvin Cook, who's 28. You have Ezekiel Elliott, who's 28. You have Kareem Hunt, who's 28. You have Leonard Fournette, who's 28. You have 4 top-tier running backs on free agency, all around the same age, and yet none of them are getting signed. So I don't think Dalvin Cook is going to be, a hot commodity that everyone's jumping on and trying to get because of the fact that there's been other great running backs that have just been sitting there, not getting phone calls, as far as we know. Um, I mean, if you would have told me 2 years ago that Cook, Zeke, Fournette, and Hunt would all be sitting on free agency without a team as OTAs are going on, I would have said that's too hot of a take for me. Um,
And you
but
have plenty of hot takes.
and I do the hottest of takes. But here we are, and they're all available. It's crazy to me. So I think that one, maybe two of those guys could get signed before the start of the season. But I think there's a very good chance that teams are just going to start their seasons with who they have. And once we start seeing some running back injuries, we know they're inevitable. Once we start seeing some running back injuries, that's when the phones are going to start ringing. So it could be until midseason. We might have to see some, end of draft snags on some free agent running backs, hoping to, get that steal of a guy that gets picked up midseason.
It's true. And it's just weird to see that. I mean, at least Cook, but I feel like all of these guys can be workhorse running backs. It's not like typically in the past when we've seen aging running backs sitting out on free agency, it's guys who have gone through their entire career. We're starting to consider them as like guys who can play first and second down or they're specialists or whatever it might be. Um, this we know the league is basically devaluing the running back position, but it's amazing to see superstar talent like these guys sitting out there. And I mean, with Kareem Hunt, he could have been a starter in this league for what, 4 or 5 years now since he got cut by the Chiefs after his situation, and he's just been sitting there as an RB2 on the Browns for that entire time. And part of me was always like, why isn't the team making a move to trade for him? But no one wanted to pay a running back that money. They would rather go draft somebody, have that cheap rookie deal, keep him for the 4 to 5 years, and then get rid of him. There's very few second contracts coming out, and we're not even going to mention Saquon Barkley. I'll just throw him in here really fast. Now he might be holding out for that second contract because I think he knows after that 5th year that he'd be going into this year with the Giants, there's a good chance he's not going to get a long-term deal. So he's trying to lock it up while he can.
George, so I have to go back and ask this. So you've said multiple times now, these aging running backs, and they are 28, and we're talking about them possibly being too old to start anymore. You
Yep.
just had a birthday, and you just turned 28. How does it feel to be the age that is now considered too old for the NFL for a running back?
I mean, I said this to my coworkers. I feel like the older I get, the more you feel like, oh, once you hit the age of 25, it's just like, I don't want to celebrate my birthday anymore. I just want to stay where I'm at. It's just getting more and more depressing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm officially the age of the aging running back, apparently. So thank you for the shout out, but it's not as fun as it should seem.
It's just crazy to think. I mean, we always looked up and thought like, wow, when that guy gets in his 30s, I mean, he's no longer eligible for the NFL anymore. I mean, he's too old, and now here we are, almost 30, and like, crap, we're too old for the NFL. Like, I'm still expecting a call by a team saying like, Tyler, we need you, and I'm ready to go. But I guess that dream's not going to hit.
I mean, I want you to realize that most of these guys, I should say all these guys getting drafted now, were born in 2000 or later.
It's gross.
Just seems wrong.
It's gross.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not this year. There was a lot of those like COVID holdouts and guys with 6 years of college eligibility that are coming out at age 26, but not the point.
So,
We have
man,
one
it is. Oh, wait, we have more news?
we have one more piece of news. I
Okay.
just want to mention Stephon Diggs was in Bills camp as of Monday, as of maybe even Tuesday morning. There's a rumor going around it was their Tuesday morning. Bills started their Tuesday OTA practice, and Stephon Diggs was not on the field and no longer in the facility. And head coach Sean McDermott says that he is concerned about the status of Stephon Diggs. We know he was unhappy after the playoff game last year and how the whole thing's gone down where they just can't get over the hump. Do you think he's going to try to force a trade?
I don't think so. I think that the Bills are a strong organization. I feel like in a lesser organization where I didn't like the upper management, I would say, yeah, he'd probably try to force a trade. But the Bills are a strong organization. They are a strong team. They are good at getting their players to buy in. And honestly, yes, they have been not able to get over that hump. They have been struggling in the playoffs, but they are that close. Every year we look at the Bills and we think they could win the Super Bowl this year. They could win the Super Bowl this year. And I mean, think about it. Yes, he wants to go win a Super Bowl. I understand that. But would you rather be the guy who forced the trade, looked bad for his franchise and his fans, and kind of sold out to go to another team because he thought you had a better chance? Or would you want to be a guy who rallied his troops, fought even harder, and got the Bills the first Super Bowl of their entire franchise history? Second one sounds cooler to me. If I was
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, I would stay, but I think he's going to stay. I think he'll be fine.
I am concerned about it because I thought all of this was fixed after the playoff loss. I mean, emotions run high, and a guy like Stephon Diggs always wears his emotion on his sleeve. So, like, I was not shocked to hear what happened after the playoff game, but I thought it was over months ago. And the fact that there's still something going on is the only reason I think that there is at least a 50-50 shot that he ends up going somewhere else. And I think it's a dumb move, too. I'm with you. It makes so much more sense for him to stay in Buffalo where they have a strong shot to make a run for a championship. If he gets traded to somewhere else, unless he goes to Kansas City, which I highly doubt that Buffalo would trade Stephon Diggs to Kansas City at this moment in history, knowing that they would basically be sealing their chance at an NFL championship out again for another year or two or whatever. I don't see another team that has that good of a shot to win that he would go to that doesn't already have enough wide receivers that they're not going to throw out the price tag for Diggs. Like, You can say, oh, you could go to the Eagles. They have a shot too. They're not going to take a Stephon Diggs. They have other guys. You could say the thing about the 49ers, but they've already got Debo and Ayuk. There's a good chance they're not going to take on Diggs and McCaffrey too. But you know what I mean? Like, out of wide receiver needy teams, there's only one that would take Stephon Diggs and have him as a big upgrade, and there's no way the Bills would trade him there.
Now, I think if the Bills trade Stephon Diggs, which again I don't see happening, but
Yep.
with the Bills considering themselves a Super Bowl contender, which I think is a right view of themselves, I don't see Diggs being traded to the same conference. I'm not talking
Mm-hmm.
division. I'm not talking just contenders. I'm not even saying like a crappy team in the AFC. He will not be traded to the same conference. It'll be to the NFC because they don't want him to affect their playoff chances until at the earliest the Super Bowl. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it going into the same conference. And the NFC is super top heavy. Like the AFC is just loaded with talent, loaded with teams that could definitely make a run, and there's going to be some good teams that miss the playoffs this year. The NFC, I feel like there's like a handful of good teams, and that's about it. And it's mostly just the 49ers, Eagles, and you can possibly say the Cowboys. But like you said, all three of those teams have receivers, so it's going to be hard. And I don't see the Bills making the move. I see more of a holdout than I do a trade.
Agreed. I mean, honestly, I would say if the Cowboys did not trade for Brandon Cooks, I could see that move happening. Now that they have Brandon Cooks in house with everyone else they have there, I don't. There's no way that that move gets done in my mind. Tyler, do you feel that?
I'm feeling it, man. I feel it in
It's
the
it's it's
grass.
getting warm in here. I think it's time for some hot takes.
I'm so excited.
All right. We said that this episode dedicated to Tyler here was going to be about hot takes. So, what we're going to do here is Tyler and I have scoured the internet for some of the more interesting hot takes about the 2023 season. We're each going to say 3 of them. I'm going to actually throw an extra in there, but that's just a little bonus take. And then at the end, we are going to give our own hottest take for the 2023 season. Tyler, do you want to lead us off with your first hot take you found on the internet?
All right. First one comes to us from sportsillustrated.com. My first 2 come from sportsillustrated.com.
Okay.
But it is Ramondre Stevenson will lead the NFL in rushing.
Ramondre Stevenson.
I'm not saying he's a bad back,
No.
but lead the league in rushing? Bro.
I mean, we said there was going to be hot takes, and like I can at least see some kind of alternate universe where this is like a possibility. But in my personal ranking, there's probably 15 guys or so that I would put above Ramondre Stevenson in chances to lead the league in rushing. Um, but like let's unpack just a little bit. Like the Patriots have a questionable quarterback situation, so they're going to have to run the ball. We seem to think they're going to be a contender, so they're going to have some kind of success somewhere. But my feeling is they're going to have to pass the ball too much to have Ramondre Stevenson have the carries to be able to lead the league in rushing, because they are in a division with those juggernaut teams like the Bills and the Dolphins, and they have Bellatrix on top of it, where they're not going to let Stevenson get that many carries. Just they're going to give them to random backs on the roster that we thought retired 5 years ago, but here they are, like Brandon Bolden.
Oh God, dude. There's so many hot takes out there. Guys, if you ever just really want some fun, go ahead and research hot takes, bold predictions, whatever you got to research. I promise you, you can find a whole lot more than we have, and we don't even have a long enough show to go over all of these hot takes. But before I go into my next one, I just want to throw out one funny one.
Okay, cool.
Um, this this bold prediction is that 62-year-old referee Carl Cheffers will release a Grammy Award-winning album reflecting on America.
Like music album?
Mm-hmm.
Is he known for music? Is
Nope.
that a thing? No.
Nope.
Where the heck out of left field did someone get that?
the same article that also said an NFL player will make a bid to run for president, and they are predicting Rob Gronkowski. The same article that said that. And you know what? At first I read that and I was like, oh my God, these guys are just making up things just to try to be funny. And then I was like, I could see it. Like, I could see Gronk being like, I'm running. I could see it. That's the worst part. He wouldn't get anywhere, but I could see him running.
I mean, running for student body president at some frat in college or some I don't know, maybe. Um if he would even get votes, I would be semi concerned, but I sadly could also see that happening.
Oh, gosh. All right, George, hit me with another one.
All right. I'm going to go right to talking Super Bowl here. So, I found on NFL.com a hot take that said the Jets will lose in the Super Bowl to the 49ers, led by Sam Darnold. The same Sam Darnold that we have been holding on to hope for 4 years, that we thought was having a resurgence in Carolina and ended up getting benched before he even played a full season, and now ended up on the 49ers.
I love it. I love the bold prediction, especially because they're not only predicting that the 49ers make a run, they're not even predicting that Sam Darnold is that good of a quarterback that he's able to lead this comeback, but they're also predicting that once again, the 49ers have to go through the woes of losing all their quarterbacks. Like, it's
Pretty
just,
much, yeah. Because
it's
there's
so painful.
nobody that's going to tell me that Sam Darnold's going to win the job over both Trey Lance. Yeah,
And
no.
Brock Purdy, no,
And
no,
Brock
it's
Purdy, no, not happening.
no. So you're calling for injuries again, which you should never. Don't root for injuries, but you can predict injuries. I mean, you kind of have to with fantasy, but it's funny. Definitely great.
Maybe we're gonna get the replay of last year's NFC Championship game, except now they have the rule where you can keep an emergency third quarterback on your roster, and then instead of at 14-0 them going to basically playing wildcat with a quarterback with one arm, they would go to Sam Darnold and they'd lead a comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking bold, we're just gonna go way out there and have this dream scenario happen, right?
It's better than what they had last year, I guess. I don't know. I'd rather have
they
Sam
really
Darnold than Purdy with one arm.
they really bought down on getting a solid third quarterback. I'll give them that. But I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have two quarterbacks coming off of injury in front of him.
Yeah, Purdy might not even be ready to start the season based off his injury.
No, and Trey Lance is coming off of a season-ending knee injury, which I think he's going to be good to go. But again, he's also he's an unproven quarterback. He's got all the talent in the world, but he hasn't done it. Like, he played 2 mediocre games beginning last season, and then unfortunately couldn't keep that going.
It's crazy to me that the Niners are saying that Brock Purdy is their quarterback. Like, they're not even leaving it up to a quarterback battle between Lance and Purdy. They're saying Purdy is their quarterback. But if Purdy isn't ready to start the season and Trey Lance does ball out to start the season, do we have quarterback controversy? Do they put in Purdy regardless because that's who they said? Do they just roll with Lance? Like, man, what do we do then?
It's also funny to me that we're arguing that they are potentially the best team in the NFC, and we don't even know who their quarterback is.
Yeah. Yeah, because
It's
the
like,
rest of
oh,
the
we
team
don't
around
care
them,
who it is. It's going to be Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl. It's fine.
I mean, the rest of their team is just so good. I mean, Christian McCaffrey can do everything. Deebo Samuel can do everything. Brandon Ayuk is a really solid receiver. And the fact that he's not even a top 2, maybe not even a top 3 weapon if you consider Kittle, uh,
Yeah.
like, they're a dangerous team and they have a ridiculous defense. So they're a good team. They're so good. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. That's the crazy thing. I mean, the Niners were still considered possibly winning a playoff game even with the injured quarterbacks last year. And if it wasn't for Brock Purdy literally losing his arm like against the Eagles, there it would have been a good fight.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's why. I mean, that's why I was so mad last year. I wasn't even mad that the Eagles beat the Niners. I was mad because I wanted to see a good matchup, and Eagles versus Niners sounded like a good matchup. And the injuries just ruined it for me. But not going to live on the past. I have one more small one here for you, George, and I'll
Okay.
save my really good one for the end because I think we're both going to have some fun with it.
Okay.
So this one is the Falcons will have 2 1,000-yard rushers, and Tyler Algier will outrush Bijan Robinson.
Now you're speaking my language.
We're talking now.
Tyler Algier truther right here. No, I don't think Tyler Algier is going to have that good of a season. I don't think you spend that kind of draft capital on Bijan Robinson to not have him be your primary back. Is there going to be a split? Yeah, there's going to be, but I don't think Tyler Algier is going to get the opportunities to get to 1,000 yards. But are they going to run the ball a lot? Yes. So there's going to be rushing yards to go around.
Dude, can we just have a moment of silence for all of the dynasty football players who put big contracts into Tyler Algier or Caleb Huntley last year because they thought they finally got a starting running back? Just one moment of silence. Oh man, it's painful. It's painful. I feel bad, but it is possible that Algier outrushes Bijan Robinson. I mean, you have always injuries is a possibility, but you also have to keep in mind he is a rookie. A lot of times people draft really big running backs and they don't play him that much in year one. They want to take it easy on him just to start. Then you see teams that put in a rookie running back and run him 10,000 times. Look what the Colts did. But it is possible. I don't see it, but hey, we'll find out. So, George, what do you got for me? I still got one big one in the chamber, so let's hear.
All right, I've got a couple, so I'll go back to back here. I'll start off with the Arizona Cardinals becoming the first ever team to go 0-17. Now, we know they're going to have problems, but to not win a game, that would also be the third team ever to go 0-16. First ever to go 0-17.
I feel bad for Hollywood Brown.
Yes.
I don't see it. I mean, the Cardinals are bad. I definitely can see them getting the number 1 overall pick next year.
Yeah,
but
they can do that with 2 or 3 wins, which is probably the most likely path to that.
Right. But you can squeak out a win anywhere. There's trap games. I mean, the Cardinals are going to end up beating the Chiefs, or they're going to beat the Bills, or they're like I didn't look at their schedule. I don't even know who they play, but they're going to end up beating one of the best teams in the league, and you're going to be like, really? Or there's going to be a division rival that at the end of the season, Cardinals season's over, and this division rival needs to win to make the playoffs, and Cardinals are going to pull it off, and it's going to be something stupid like that. But I could see them winning some games. And honestly, it really also depends on Kyler Murray. Are they rushing him back to make sure he can play this season? Or are they going to do what I said on the podcast a few weeks ago and just kind of rest him all season regardless? Because there's no use playing him when the season doesn't matter anymore. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I get where this comes from, because if you're going to pick a team in betting odds to go for the first overall pick, it's going to be the Cardinals because of not having Kyler Murray and all that. But there's even a chance Kyler Murray comes back in the second half of the season. I don't know. They're going to be a team in transition, but they still have talent. Even though they got rid of Hopkins, they still have Hollywood Brown. They still have a decent defense. Like, they are going to accidentally fall into a win, like you said. And in the NFC West of all the divisions, like, you can say divisional games are always hard, but there's a couple divisions where it always seems like it doesn't matter how bad or how beat up a team is. There's always a chance for that underdog to win. The NFC West might be the number 1 division in that scenario. I know the NFC East is the same way. Like, those are the two divisions that I think stick out in my mind of it's anybody's game whenever anybody plays anybody.
Couldn't agree more, George. Hit me with another one.
All right. We're going to have a rookie running back lead all running backs in touchdowns, but it's not going to be Bijan Robinson. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. I mean, this one's not super crazy to me. I mean, it's crazy. Don't get me wrong, but it's not super crazy because of the fact that we think Jamal Williams was there just last year. Jamal Williams led in touchdowns, and the Lions are really good at forcing touchdowns to certain people. We saw it last year. Look, I don't want to take anything away from Jamal Williams. I'll give him all the credit in the world, but they forced him the touchdowns. Like, DeAndre Swift would get them all the way down the field, and then, well, let's put in Williams for the touchdown. Or it would be a clear passing situation, but they would still force the ball to Jamal Williams because they want to get him the touchdown. Like, they were going for that record. I mean, look, if you don't really have the playoffs to play for, you might as well play for some records, have some fun with it. But if they decide to force the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs to try to show the world that they didn't make a mistake by getting rid of Williams and Swift, I could see it.
Do you know why I can't see it?
What?
Who's the other running back on their roster? David
Honestly,
Montgomery.
he's good.
Who? But who is in this scenario? Who is DeAndre Swift and who is Jamal Williams?
You got a fair point there. Yeah, DeAndre Swift would
That's
be the Jameer Gibbs,
yep.
uh, and they would force the touchdowns to Montgomery. I don't know.
So if I see that scenario going again, I see David Montgomery being the touchdown machine and the guy that you're going to want to pick up in fantasy because all he's going to do is score 20 touchdowns in 16 games or whatever. But I could see a Lions running back doing it because of what happened last year. It's interesting they still have the two-headed monster there.
David Montgomery is going to be that annoying running back that's sitting there at the end of drafts that I'm just like staring at my board, staring at his name, like, you shouldn't take him. You shouldn't take him. Why do you still want to take him? Like, because I'm going to see his
Yeah.
name and I'm going to see that touchdown potential and I'm going to be like making up scenarios in my head for how he's still valuable and I'm going to want to take him. And it's not a great pick. Decent handcuff if you're a Jameer Gibbs owner, but outside of that, he's just going to be, I'm telling you, he's going to be frustrating. I'm going to be staring at him like wanting to draft him, and it's just not a good pick.
When they just had Montgomery and Swift on their roster, you are really doing something with your mic there. That was loud and I am deaf.
I didn't even do anything.
I don't know. It was loud. Maybe it was a cat or something. I don't know. Anyway, when it was Montgomery and Swift on the roster, after seeing how they handled Swift last year, and like we kept trying to say it was an injury, but it never seemed to really turn back around, I was all in on like Montgomery's going to be a monster. And then I watched how much they celebrated drafting Jamar Gibbs a round and a half too early, and it's going to be a problem. But I still feel like there's a chance that Montgomery takes enough carries or enough touchdowns or both to make both of them very mediocre guys for fantasy. And that's just the world of NFL we live in, I guess.
That is true. You got any more for me?
I have one more just little fun one I'll throw here before your fun one. An NFL team will make a call to Antonio Brown this season.
Man, I think that might be the hottest take I've heard so far.
Right?
This dude is losing his mind. He is lost his mind. He is losing it more. He's constantly on the news or social media. Like, I think you have a better chance of Antonio Brown being in prison by the end of the season than you do of him being on an NFL team. I don't know where that prop bet is on Barstool Sportsbook, but all right.
A
All right.
Barstool would be the one to have that too. So let's go contact El Presidente and figure it out.
You ready for this one, George? I'm excited.
I am very excited because you've been hyping this up the entire episode.
Here we go. Russell Wilson will be the
Already
first
like it.
player to ever win Comeback Player of the Year and MVP.
He doesn't get MVP votes. What the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's how bold this is. We are going, not only is he going to win Comeback Player of the Year and have a good season, but he's going to get MVP votes out there.
You could have said win Comeback Player of the Year and get an MVP vote, and I would have been like, man, that's bold. I don't know about that. But win MVP.
He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. And if I read the blurb here, it even goes on to say that he will have double-digit wins, making the playoffs, and win at least one playoff game.
And that's in a division with two other strong AFC contenders again, the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Yeah, it's just like we need to calm down. All right.
Though, let me just say, and this might be a hot take coming out here, they did just sign the most overrated NFL coach in potentially NFL history. I love Sean Payton, but is he as good as they're making him out to be to not only get Russell Wilson an MVP vote, but to win MVP and Comeback Player of the Year and get them back to the playoffs and potentially a division winning scenario? They're making all this sound like it's like, oh, it's a given.
You know, it's so funny to me that the Saints were so good for so long, and yet you say that Sean Payton might be the most overrated coach of all time, and Cody says that Drew Brees is the most overrated quarterback of all time. Like, they can't both be true. Like, we can't just have these two overrated people on an overrated team that just overratedly won Super Bowls and broke records. Like, something has to give here. One of them has to be good. So I feel like one of these days when we're having a lull in the middle of the season or in the middle of the offseason, we need to have a debate on, was it Drew or was it Sean between you and Cody? I think it'll be a fun debate.
Well, we know it was Belichick, so maybe he's the most overrated coach. I don't know.
Oh man. Just
Whatever viewers we had left, just turned it off after both of those statements by me. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's fine. But Belichick lost Brady and started losing games. So a lot of people are going to say that it was Brady winning. It wasn't Belichick.
Yeah.
But Brady went from one of the most talented rosters in the NFL to the Bucks, who overloaded with talent so he could win a Super Bowl.
So there's not really a good way
Okay.
to tell.
And then all the talent that was in New England left with Brady when they were on their downswing anyway. I
It's
mean,
true.
Patriots really weren't that good their final season. They squeaked into the playoffs and the Titans ended their season. Like, it wasn't that impressive. So was it Belichick? Was it Brady? Or was it the fact that if you build a really strong roster, it's gonna win? Is it? Can we just
Man,
settle on
what
that?
a concept that is. I don't know if that's even possible.
Like, I feel like you can try to make the argument of certain players do it, but it's a team sport. I think it's a huge roster.
Yeah.
It's so much goes into it. Like, the Eagles were so amazing last year because of Jalen Hurts, or they were so amazing because
No.
of AJ Brown. No, they were amazing because they had a super deep roster that was talented at all fronts. The Patriots were talented in all fronts when they were on their run. The Broncos came out of nowhere because they got uh, Peyton Manning. That's one that you might be able to argue because he took these no names and made them good, but those guys ended up staying good for years. So
They just
really
happened to
talented
get him at the
roster.
perfect time. And don't forget, Sam Darnold's going to win the Super Bowl with the 49ers. So
Sam Darnold's going to win with the 49ers. Like, I mean, take the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. It looked like it was because Carson Wentz was leading them, and then no name Foles steps in and starts winning Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes, you could say that he's single handedly leading. He has Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey. He had Tyreek Hill all this time. They do still have some strong defensive players. Like, please don't. That's one of the biggest misconceptions of this sport. No single player is leading their team to championships. No single player is leading their team to Super Bowl wins. It is a team sport. And anywhere that you are looking at a team, you're like, that guy is leading his team to a Super Bowl. I promise you, there are 10 guys that you are neglecting on that team that are not getting the recognition they deserve or more. So, super random rant. I don't know why I went off on that rant, but hey,
it's fine.
it's the offseason. What else do we have to talk about?
We have one bold prediction from each of us. So personal bold predictions here. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? I know you're the hot takes
I
guy.
will. I will let you go first.
Okay. Let's see how bold I am here. Am I living up to Tyler's potential? All right. The number 1 seed in the NFC will be the Minnesota Vikings, led by 2,000-yard rusher Alexander Mattison.
Yowza. All right. Yeah, that's that is definitely bold. 2,000 yards. Only 8 running backs have ever done it, and you're like, yeah,
And
Madison's
it's
on
his
that list.
first year starting, despite him being an older back, considering in running back years. He's never had a workload. He's been behind Dalvin Cook. He's been the number 1 plug-and-play handcuff in fantasy for the last 5 years.
Okay, but here's my rebuttal. And keep in mind, folks out there that hear us like, yeah, I don't see that one. Like, it's called a hot take for a reason. You're not supposed to see it. It's supposed to be this, like, maybe in an alternate universe. Like, it's supposed
Yeah.
to be a bold prediction that people don't see coming. So on that note, great job. But
Thank you.
my rebuttal to that would be, if you really think about it, Dalvin Cook gets hurt every year, and it's always like a 2 to 3 week injury.
Mhm.
And then Madison steps in and kills it. But
Yep.
Madison always seems to get kind of nicked up or hurt at the end of that run, too. Like, he gets hurt right at the end of Cook's 3 games out, and Cook comes back in. And then the time that Cook's back in there is the time Madison heals up. And then Cook gets hurt again, and Madison steps back in and goes for 4 games. Then he gets hurt, so Cook comes back. Like, It seems to be like that every year, and it works out perfectly for the Vikings, except the one year that they had Mike Boone running the
Oh, your
football
favorite.
championship. So outside of that, like he does have some injury risk too. So I don't think as a lead back he's going to stay solid through the years. I think what we really need to be thinking about is every year Alexander Madison is one of the top backup running backs drafted. So who's the backup for the Vikings that is going to suddenly take his role over?
Yeah, because I will say, I feel like, I mean, don't hurt me if you're a Dalvin Cook truther. Um, the offensive line has a lot to do with how good running backs are in the NFL. There's a good chance that Alexander Madison's not as good as he has been in his stats and whatever, because they have a really good offensive line there for run blocking, at least in Minnesota. That's why you can plug and play the second running back and go. That's why anybody that gets a touch in Philadelphia is good. The problem is they just split too much, and that's why you can't rely on them in fantasy. When the Vikings are like, we're going to go to our guy, and we're going to keep running with him. So yeah, I would definitely start to figure out who's going to be number 2 on that depth chart in Minnesota now that Dalvin Cook's gone and Madison's a starter.
All right, my bold prediction. I'm doing this one on a day where Cody's not here.
It's going to be about the Packers. I like it.
It is not.
Oh,
It
okay.
is not. My bold prediction is going to be the man that was all over the offseason news, the man that they could not shut up about, the man that they traded so much to get. Aaron Rodgers will lead the league in interceptions.
Wow. That was anticlimactic. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. I could see it in an alternate universe. It's not going to be quite that bad in the NFL. But I get where you're coming from, and I get why you've had all this hate towards Aaron Rodgers through the entire process, other than just the attitude and the way it's all come out. He is a quarterback who is not too far removed from 2 straight MVPs, but he wasn't able to really put a team on his back and ride it all out last year. And then he's going onto a team with a very young roster that we think has the talent to try to take the next step, but you don't know if they're a year or two away. And like we've said already with Sam Darnold winning Super Bowl for the 49ers this year, it's more than just the quarterback. I don't know if the roster around him is quite ready to make that move. And obviously, he could end up throwing more interceptions because of receivers not being on pace with him or whatever it might be. Um, Bold, because I don't think he's going to lead in interceptions, but it might not go as smoothly as some of these Jets fans are dreaming of.
So, just to put this in perspective, last season, the league leader in interceptions was
Good
Davis
old
Mills.
Dak. Oh, I thought it was Dak Prescott still. Never
Dak
mind.
was tied for the lead. Uh,
Okay, good.
you didn't let me finish there, but yeah. So they were both tied for the league lead in interceptions at 15. Aaron Rodgers had 12. So
That's not that far
not
off.
super far off. Now you're also talking about a team and a scheme that he has been in his entire career. And now you are changing all of that. You are changing your city, you're changing your coaches, you're changing your receivers for the most part, except the like grandpas that they're wheeling out onto the field so that he can have his guys with him. You're talking about a whole new roster, a whole new system. Usually there's some growing pains. And we also talked earlier that the Jets are in a really good division. I mean, the Patriots do still have some ball hawks. The Bills have a great defense. The Dolphins have some phenomenal corners and safeties. So there's a chance that they're really trying to make Rodgers look bad. And I feel like Rodgers is also going to be pressing a little bit. We see him get frustrated. We really see him try to step up when the Packers were down. Now you're talking about a team just sold out their entire future to come get you, and you struggle. He's going to be pressing. He's going to be trying way too hard to do too much. And I feel like he has that chance to throw even more interceptions. It would be crazy to see. And in all honesty, it's probably going to be a rookie quarterback that leads in interceptions, not Aaron Rodgers. Um, but that's my bold prediction. Ron leads in picks.
You know what's crazy? I was thinking like 15 seems low for, leader in interceptions. 2020, the leaders were also at 15. It was Carson Wentz and Drew Lock. Carson Wentz led a team to the playoffs that year. Or no, never mind. That was the year they fell short, I believe. I don't remember. And then in 2021, it was 17, still not too far off. And it was rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence, as well as Matt Stafford, Super Bowl winning quarterback Matt Stafford, tied for the league lead in interceptions at 17. So it's also you saying him leading league interceptions doesn't even necessarily mean they're going to miss the playoffs or even not make a run for a championship, because we've actually seen in recent history that quarterbacks have thrown a lot of interceptions and had success. Dak had one of the best teams in the NFC last year too.
See, I love it. And if you go back to 2018, league leader has 16. Yet, now here's my favorite. We talked about all these like 15, 15, 17, 16. Now we go to 2019 where Phillip Rivers was third with 20.
Oh,
Baker Mayfield was second with 21. And good old Jameis Winston was number one with 30 picks. 30.
but he threw like 35 touchdowns though.
33.
Whatever. He still had more touchdowns. I don't know. That was the ultimate gunslinger quarterback year of all gunslinger quarterback years. He was so fun to watch because everything he threw was either a touchdown or a pick.
Oh, yeah, he did not care. He gave no Fs. He yeeted that thing. He just threw it downfield and hoped.
Don't forget, he got surgery to correct his vision after that year, and that was the reason he threw 30 picks.
Man, okay, so I know I'm like getting off on a tangent again, but here we go. 2013. 2013. Now, think about it. We're going into the 2023 season,
Yep.
right? So
This is
2013,
a
we're
long
talking
time
about
ago.
10 years. And we have Eli Manning in first with 27 picks, Joe Flacco in second with 22, Carson Palmer in third with 22, but fourth in picks, 12 touchdowns, 21 picks, a 66.5 quarterback rating, Geno Smith. It's been that long that he's been in the league. It's been that long that he's been down, and he just got a big contract last year. And look, we're in a dynasty league that there was an all-out bidding war for Geno Smith on the free agency market in this offseason. Like, what an unbelievable story that this guy has had.
Clips and tags this to our league homepage.
Yes.
No, there was a lot of people that were like, you way overpaid for a guy who's probably going to start for one more year. But anyway, no, that's just a tangent. It's also amazing how interception numbers have gone so far down in the last few years now, seeing how much higher they used to be early in the 2010s and how offenses must have gotten a lot more efficient in that
Yeah, and
time.
keep in mind, we added a game.
Yeah, that's true. So that makes it even more impressive.
Like, we added an extra game, and yet interceptions went down. Does that make sense?
Efficiency as an offense. All right, Tyler, before we get out of here, I think it's time for your special segment. What is Tyler's oddball fact of the week?
Oh, man, I got to pull it back up.
Caught you off guard. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I accidentally closed it. That sucks.
All right, let's what other tangent can we talk about Antonio Brown more? I don't know. How many more jumping jacks will he do in the end zone if they actually have a team call him this year? Can we bet on that on Barstool? Man, I'm trying. I don't know.
Hey, you just keep stalling here. Do you think Baker Mayfield could lead in picks for the Bucks?
I mean, I think that's a possibility. I would like to see the Baker Mayfield revenge tour 2.0. But honestly, if you're going to have a candidate who is a seriously decent betting option for leading the league in interceptions, if you're looking for a prop bet or something like that, that's not a bad one, because there's a good chance he's going to get a starting gig for a majority or all of the season just because of their quarterback situation. But he's not necessarily an upper echelon quarterback. But I'm kind of hoping I see more of Rams Baker Mayfield than I did Panthers Baker Mayfield last year, just between the talent around him and the fact that I kind of want him to succeed to an extent.
All right, I got my fact up. Thank you for
Okay.
stalling.
Got it.
So I picked this fact this week because I know that I have talked about how I was disappointed in the last NFL season and how my interest level has, I don't want to say go down. Maybe life just got busier and I haven't had the chance to really buy in. So I'm excited for an exciting season. That's what I'm hoping for. I want a crazy NFL season where we're on the edge of our seats the entire season. So I picked this one. In 2004, 26 of the 32 NFL teams were still in playoff contention with 2 weeks left in the season, which is a record. 26 of 32 still in playoff contention with only 2 weeks left.
Now, I feel like we were similar to that at one point last year when we were like, oh, there's like 700 teams that have like 6 wins right now. But I guess it was all right below those like that like playoff window that all those teams ended up being there. I don't know if we're going to quite get 26 with 2 weeks left just because the extra week of the season also makes that harder to get to. But I would love to see something like that.
Just look, we've seen so many. I think the thing that's been made famous in the most recent seasons is the huge comebacks. We've seen so many massive blown leads in the past couple of years in glorious fashion that I think that's becoming more popular. But yeah, let's go back to just straight up dominance. Let's see so many teams that are so good that we just can't even figure out who the playoffs are going to be. I hate seeing really good teams miss the playoffs, but I want the season to be so good that a great team misses it. Like that's how good I want this season to be. That there's a team sitting at home on the couch that I could easily see making it to the Super Bowl. That's how crazy I want this season to be. Is it possible? Probably not with that weak NFC, but hey, you never know. Honestly, they might surprise us. They might come out and really turn some heads this year. So we'll have to wait and see.
Here's the hope of the NFC is more competitive and that those teams that were making runs at the end of the season can turn into somebody who can like actually challenge those top end NFC teams, like a team like the Lions per se, which it's nice to see them get that opening game week 1 to see if they can keep that run going from the end of last year.
Man, I hope the Lions are good this year. Like I hope they're really good. I think I want to see a first timer win the Super Bowl. I'd love to see the Bengals or the Bills or someone who hasn't won it before. I mean, the Titans obviously, but I don't see it. But
Because it's going to be Sam Darnold, and that's the
Sam
title of the episode.
Darnold. Well, that's not a first timer. I want to see a first time team winning it. Always root for the underdogs, and the Lions will forever be an underdog in my head. So, rooting for the underdog Lions, hoping they have a good season. But either way, we are through some OTAs. We are getting into mini camps. It is starting to get crunch time. Weather is warming up, meaning we're getting closer to the season. So, hopefully, you guys are getting a little excited.
I know I am, and I know Cody is wherever he is down in a very warm part of the country right now. But I think that'll wrap us up here for today's show. Reminder, we'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully with Cody back here with us as well. For Tyler Snyder, I'm George Kerth, and we'll see you all next time.
Boom.
Nice.
Nice.
Choo-choo.